God wants all or nothing. The thought of a person calling himself a Christian without being a devoted follower of Christ is absurd, and yet we see it all too often, And let me just tell you, none of us walk in perfectness. I get it, we all could work on ourselves and better ourselves. I totally understand that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is these people that call themselves Christians but don't live for Christ, don't walk with him, They think that just by going to church, singing a few songs, they walk out no different, no better, not wanting to better themselves, not wanting to change themselves, And part of that is because in a lot, but not all, but in a lot of these churches, we have such lukewarmness. And I'm telling you, there is so much lukewarm Christianity, it's unreal. And that's problematic, guys. It really, truly is. You know what Jesus said in Revelation. He said the lukewarm, he will spew out of his mouth. They make him sick to his stomach, He'd rather you be on fire for him. Or heck, he'd even rather you be freezing cold for him. But don't be in the middle. Don't be on the fence. And I think there is far too many people on the fence. And it's high time, especially in these days that we're living in, that people pick a side and go to that side and stop straddling the fence, being on the center, Because I'm telling you, you're going to be tested. And let me just tell you something. People are being tested and their true character, true motives are coming out. Just look at the Asbury revival, So many people were jealous. Oh, that doesn't happen in my church. Well, maybe you should start reassessing of why that doesn't live in your church. Why that's not in your life, The problem is people hate to reassess themselves. Me included. I don't always enjoy it either. But we ought to be once in a while reassessing ourselves, Because a big problem is, we get ourselves lost and think, oh, I'm doing it all right, and then, we get arrogant. Oh, I'm so perfect. I don't do anything wrong, which is a load of crap, And we're blindly being deceived, That's why we ought to check ourselves once in a while. Yeah, guys, the bottom line is it's all or nothing with God. Stop straddling the fence. I love yous and yous have a blessed day.